Well, you know, Vanderbilt updating its vaccination requirements is just another example of how all the steps that people are taking and businesses are taking just to try to slow the spread of COVID. Dr. Alex Jahangir is with us. He's the chair of the Metro Coronavirus Task Force. Dr. Jahangir, when we talk about mask mandates going into effect in some school districts, what do you see as a potential future? Do you think masks would be mandated again in Davidson County, considering what we're going through now?
Well, I can tell you as a city, there's no discussion of having a mask mandate currently. And the reason is this: the best public health, the whole purpose of public health interventions and mandates are to provide safety to the community until there's an effective intervention that's easily accessible. We have that in vaccines. And I think as a policy standpoint, that is where we stand as a city, that anyone can get a vaccine if they need it. Now, I do commend businesses and institutions that choose to do what they feel is best for their patrons and employees. There are a lot of music venues recently that just announced that they were requiring vaccines. I respect that. I commend that. And as a patron, I think we can make choices about where we want to go based on those protocols that we see at our organizations. But as far as a citywide, for anyone 12 and up, we don't see that this is necessarily a time to do a citywide mask mandate at this point.
Let's talk about bed availability at ICUs. In your opinion, how do the numbers look at this point, and what is being done to make sure people who maybe get in a car accident, for example, or have some need for an ICU other than a COVID need, what is being done to make sure they have access to beds in the ICU?
Well, I think it's not hyperbole to say things are tight again. But here's what happened. Last time when we had a surge in the winter, the three major health systems, as well as we with the state and the city, came together and developed a protocol to ensure that anyone locally that needs a hospital bed will get one. And so there was a protocol we put together towards the end of our last surge in January that fortunately we didn't have to use then, and I thought we would never have to use. But we've now started this protocol, and it's working really well. It's to ensure that anyone in our region that needs healthcare of any kind is able to stay in our region and doesn't have to be transferred to, let's say, a hospital 300 miles away. It's worked well, but you know, we have some amazing health systems in this city, and I'm really proud of how well they've all come together to ensure that care is provided. But listen, we're tight again. I don't think there's any secret to that.
And let's talk about these pretty fascinating numbers that have come out from the mayor's office today. We did learn today that in Nashville specifically, 3 people who have died from COVID were in fact vaccinated. The number is very low when you look at the percentage. What is your take on the number? And then can you talk about how rare these things happening is?
So it is extremely rare. So 3 people out of 370,000 people that have been vaccinated in Nashville alone died, and those 3 happen to be elderly people with multiple medical comorbidities, and you know, obviously any death is sad. But here's the reality of the people in our hospitals right now. The people that have died, 97% or so are unvaccinated. So vaccine provides you an amazing variety of protection. We all probably know of a person or two that's had a breakthrough case recently. The Delta variant, a little bit more aggressive. But most of the people I know who've had a breakthrough case, typically it's just like a little cold and they get over it in a few days. Vaccines protect lives. You look at, we've had about 106 people die and all of those people are unvaccinated in the past month or so. So I just bring that up to say vaccines definitely are protective against people dying. And yeah, you occasionally have the rare case, as you said, 3 out of 370,000 Nashvillians have died were vaccinated.
Interesting stuff. Dr. Alex Jahangir, thanks so much for, of course, the work that you're doing for the city right now, but then also for